Better Woman is brought to you by Audible. Visit betterwomanonline.com/audible to download a free audiobook.
Most people have gone through some time when they have overcome a fear. One of the things that I work with people doing is creating a lifeline. Just look back at the different periods of your life. What were some of the things that happened? You flunked out of school, or you got busted, or you got a promotion, or you got married, or you bought your first house, or you got a DUI. Who knows? Whatever it is. Whether you think of it as good or bad, and you sort of map those along a timeline. And then you begin to look at, what were the high points and the low points? And then what were the turning points? When did you say, boy, after that, then I really did so and so and so and so? And as you look at that, say, what are the things that I realize now about myself? Where have I met those challenges? What did I do? What were the things that were the hardest for me? And how did I move through them? What were the steps? When I went back and looked for myself at those challenges I had to overcome, one was I stopped smoking when I was in my late 20s. I had to become bilingual when I was 30. I learned how to downhill ski, and now I ski black diamonds when I was over 50. And so I looked at what was the pattern. Well, one was I realized that I needed to have a teacher in each of those. I realized that I needed to be willing to be a beginner. I realized that I had a compelling reason for being willing to look foolish in order to do those. So identify what your patterns are, and when you took some step that you look back on and say, wow, I really did that. And so when I started trying to become savvy about really using social media, I went back and I looked at what had been successful before for me. So I got help. I was willing to ask the stupid questions and to not be an expert. And when you are a business consultant, people figure you should know the answers, and I figure I should know the answers. So I had to be willing to look dumb. And I had a compelling reason, because I feel so strongly about getting the message out that you can have work that you love and that you are worth that was what I did. And that doesn't mean that I haven't had some spectacular failures, because I have. My father was a pediatrician, and back when I was growing up, smallpox vaccinations were just a rite of passage to go to school. And initially with smallpox, they would scratch your arm and put some of the live smallpox virus in. You'd get a little sick, but then you'd be fine, and then you'd have immunity to smallpox for life. So when a failure would come along, my father said, this is an immunizing dose of failure, which meant that you're getting a small failure because someday you may have a big failure, but it's not going to put you out because you built up some immunity to failure. When you think about failure, if you remember that Thomas Edison, the great scientist who invented the electric light bulb, the incandescent filament, failed literally thousands of times to find the right filament. And a young reporter said to him, Mr. Edison, how can you continue when you have failed so many times? And Edison said, young man, I haven't failed. I have found 1,000 things that don't work. So when we fail, the first thing to ask is, or when we perceive that we failed, is what did work out of this? Because generally it's not 100% failure. What parts did work? What parts didn't work? What did I learn? What do I know now that I didn't know before I started this? And last, what would I do differently, or what will I do differently in the future? Those 4 questions can liberate you from the shame and blame of, Oh my goodness, I'm awful, I'm stupid, I should have known. But we get so trapped frequently in our embarrassment and our shame that we fail to capture, we fail to turn into an opportunity that failure.